Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading session. It's the end of a short trading week this week with the Easter holiday. Good Friday tomorrow, of course, and then through the rest of the weekend. The markets were in a little bit of a decline, and that's kind of spilled over into this morning. Here we'll take a look at the Eagle. The overnight not very active, but you can see we left off around the 43.90 area yesterday, and prices just continued to trickle through the Asian and the London session, and here we are opening at around 43.70. So we've got a little bit of a 20-point gap above the market from where we left off. It'll be interesting to see whether or not we're going to do a little short-term swing. I've got my eye here on the Raptor. The Falcon is already producing a little bit of a trend change. The Hawk also attempting to maybe trying to rally it up. We'll see whether or not we're going to get a little short-term failure here on the lows. What I'm looking for is a retest of this low now and then a move higher. I might try to buy the market up to see if it's going to try to get into that opening range gap to start the day. But overall, we do have a little bit of a bearish tone on the day. We can't ignore that. I can't get too cute with the market. So this first low right here, this first retest of the low is going to be a biggie. Even if we get a little break, if we break through by a tick or two or even a point and the market reverses and heads higher, that could be a failure as well. And by failure, I mean that the market is no longer trying to head lower, that in fact it's failing in the downtrend and it's going to try to head higher. We do have a slight sideways action. You can see prices came down, and now for the last, about the last hour, we've been in a little bit of a sideways drift. Crude oil also in a decline, which is probably pulling down the stock market in general. The NASDAQ, of course, less influenced by commodity prices or oil prices in particular than other stock indices. But it may still have a bearing nonetheless. What's interesting is gold also took a move lower, which normally there's a little bit more of an inverse relationship between these two than a one-to-one type relationship. Well, it's not really a one-to-one, I guess more of a direct relationship. All right, we're getting a first micro-macro cross signal here on the Hawk. That's since turned into yellow bars. That's looking a little bit more promising in regards to a possible move higher. Okay, here comes the Raptor. It's starting to produce warning dots. There's actually a buy signal, so I'm going to pop in with a long position here. And like I said, this is very early. This is very risky. Essentially what we're trying to do is just test the waters, so to speak. Trying to see whether there's going to be some follow through here to the upside. The better place to enter is above this high, above the 43.74 high. That's the more predictable place to get into this market. As far as riskiness goes, well, I guess we've got a 50-50 chance that this trade is going to work out. Perhaps a better thing to do if you're looking to try to take advantage of this is just throw in a onesie. just throw in a single contract and delete your break even and your profit objective and see if you can't run it out a little bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my break even a little bit closer to my profit target, because like I said, this 43.74 area, that's going to be the sticky spot. The Falcon should be producing a corresponding signal very soon, as will the Hawk. In fact, if you wanted, you could consider this signal right here as your early trend change signal. We don't focus on the early trend change signal that much with the Falcon. It's just because we normally produce a proper with trend signal, a proper trend change signal afterwards. And you don't want to get too cute with the market, especially on counter trend trades. And you can see here is our primary line right here at the high, 43.74 half. So if we can see 43.75, I think we're going to be all right. So getting a little reaction now as we're coming into the hard edge of our trading band. Same thing here on the Eagle. But sometimes when you see those opening gaps, they're just too tempting. All right, so there they go. They're trying to get into the gap. I'm going to take my trade to break even now. It may or may not be deep enough to ride out a swing. I'm going to hope that it is. We should get a first micro macro cross and a trend change signal now on our Falcon. We're also going to get a cloud crossover style signal here on the Raptor. So here now is the first micro macro cross signal on the Hawk. We need to enter above the highs. Unfortunately, we need to risk this pretty deep. Ideally, I'd want to risk it right here below the lows, if I could afford it. Well, I can actually. I can get in with a onesie on that. I know it seems a little extreme risking the trade way down here. Oh, there's actually our first micro macro cross signal. I'm not going to readjust the trade just yet, but you could take the signal a little bit tighter if you chose. I'm afraid if I cancel and try to restructure, the market's going to run away on me before I can get the order in. And of course, you can just plan to enter above the high, but we'll take this second little swing point right there just to try to get a slightly better entry. Notice all these yellow bars. Yellow bars, very characteristic of a sideways market. What I'm looking at here is a possible breakout. And again, it's still early, but I'm hoping that we got the breakout. We're looking at the retest. We're going to look at the rally. Whenever we break a significant swing point, and you want to look at significant ones, don't get too carried away micromanaging this, looking at teeny tiny little swings. But if we break a swing point, we can normally anticipate two moves in the direction of the breakout. So this would be move number one. Now I'm looking for move number two. And again, I could readjust my trade here, if providing they don't run away. No, I'm just going to leave my order where it is. Okay, so now I can readjust, and we'll take that signal right there. What I'm doing is just looking for slightly better entry. You see, as the prices drift lower, there's no point in trying to enter above the high, because I'm going to give up nearly my whole profit objective just to try to gain entry on the signal. And by then, at least my scalping momentum may be done. You can tell from the day ranger that the market is contracting a little bit. The 5 and 10-day average is only about 160, and the 30-day range 227. So things getting a little bit tighter, a little bit more congested. This very likely will move into a macro pullback type scenario. In fact, I should even place my entry one tick above the hash mark. Let's see if they'll allow me to do that. One tick above the hash mark down there. There we go. Let's see if we have a signal yet on the Falcon. No, we're still working that trend change signal on the Falcon. Into the hard edge here on the Eagle, so it's looking as though we might get a little bit of a green bar sell type scenario. Okay, we can change now, allow for our macro pullback signal here on the Hawk. Oh, and there they go, they're drifting again. Okay, now we're into yellow bars and a red bar buy. This is the last chance now for the buyers to get their act together. And at this point, I'm really just looking at a test of the extreme, a retest of the high. And we're getting to that neighborhood where we could take two contracts, but I'm just going to go into manual mode and only risk a single contract. Okay, and now we're into yellow bars, so I'm going to shut that down. All right, red bar buy. Oops, I'm going to go manual. I only want a single. The reason being, this is technically counter trend, and the market is still kind of looking for direction. I'm going to try to run this out, so I'm going to delete my profit objective. And as we get close to this 43.75 area where my profit target would be, I'm going to get really serious about bringing my stop up. So we very likely would have hit our break-even trigger, or very close to it. Okay, see how this bar is trying to get a big tail to it? I'm going to chicken out and bring my stops in. No, Tony. Tony asks, are you trading the yellow bars on the hawk? No, I'm not. I'm trading this red bar buy signal right here. And what I'm looking at is a retest of the high, right? I'm looking for that test of the extreme. Right now, we're getting a little bit of a sideways drift, seeing a little bit of a pennant type consolidation going on. Like I said, we just threw in a onesie here, just trying to see if we can't get that retest. Absolutely, Doyle. While we're waiting for this trade to sort itself out, and hopefully the buyers will realize they got to kick in here, Doyle asks, can you show me how you automatically set your profit targets? Sure. That's on this little feature down here on your trade manager where it says tick targets enabled. Now you can, by default, your trade manager says click targets enabled. You can preset your profit targets by going here to your strategies window. Remember, your trade manager is a strategy. And when you first put your trade manager on your chart, you'll be able to adjust everything. But once it's already applied, you're going to see that all these numbers are grayed out. I can't change anything here, right? It won't allow me. The only thing you can change is the enabled tab. This is your on-off button. So you can turn your trade manager off by going to false, click apply, and now everything is in black so that you can change it. What you want to look for is here in the account parameter, or pardon me, account protector parameters. This is where you can preset your risk amount. Your risk volatility is probably set at 1. That would be 1%. That would be your default. I have it set at 2. Right below that is click/tick target type. This is going to be your default target. If you want to manually set your targets, you go to click. If you want to automatically set your targets, you go to tick. So select tick. Now you can also preset how you want your profits taken. Normally, by default, I go all in, all out. So target 1%, I have set at 100%. If you want to take, say, half or a third or a quarter of your profit on target 1, well, you would set that here, either 25% or 33% or 50% or 75% or whatever you choose. You can also preset targets 2 and 3 if you wanted. This is where you set your target 1 value. So target 1 for the Falcon, I have preset at 20 ticks. Now you can also change all of this on the fly, if you will, but I find it easier to preset my favorite values right from the get-go. And again, you can do it for targets 2 and 3. So once you've got that and everything is to your liking, I would suggest that you save your template. So simply go in here and type, Falcon or Doyle's Falcon or whatever you want, right? And then hit enter, and it's actually going to save your template so that the next time you load a fresh chart, you can just go down here and you can load Falcon or whatever it is you called it, and that will be your template. When everything is to your liking, go back here to your Enable tab, go back to True, and now apply everything. And voila, you're going to have all your presets down here. So now when you set your prices, you're automatically going to have your 20 tick profit target. Now remember, I said you can change things as you go. So let's say you decide that you want to run things out. You're going to have a 50% target on target 1, and you're going to have target 2 to take the balance. So we'll go target 2, 50%. Oops. And now it's going to prompt you for a target 2 value. So let's say target 2 is going to be 30 ticks. And now we're going to set up our trade. And there's target 1 and target 2. Simple enough, right? And I'll just go back to my, oops. Oh, stop it. You're annoying me. There we go. All right, so it looks like we got tagged on our hawk attempt. We're getting a possible green bar sell here. And yes, I would consider buying that again. I can't help but feel that opening gap is just calling to me. We did get another soft edge buy signal here on the Raptor. And we're starting to work a rule of 3 type signal here on the Eagle as well. Now, it could be a little bit early to actually treat this as a rule of 3. We have had the retest of the lows. We're kind of getting the rejection. I wouldn't necessarily take it here on the hash mark because we may just end up going in a sideways range. The problem with sideways ranges, well, you don't want to buy the top end of the range because prices are going to drift all the way down here and test the bottom end of the range. So you may end up buying here on the high and getting stopped out on the low. You may choose to use this maybe as an early warning that the market is going to turn around. Or if you say, well, hey, Eric, to me it looks like the market is going to turn around. We're going to try to get into that opening gap. Then by all means, just throw the order in. It's a valid trade. I would be more comfortable with the third buy signal than the second. So I'm going to close that. Here's our first micro macro cross signal on the hawk, which is going to retest these highs. Oh, come on, you guys, play nice. So here's somebody dipping their toe in the water, so to speak. And now we're looking at the reaction to that breakout. Right, here's that sideways kind of action we're looking at. There's the breakout, and here's the sellers getting busy. All right, the Raptor coming in with a possible cloud crossover. The Hawk here still with its first micro-macro cross. This might be a little bit easier to take, the second one, because it is the retest. And you can see we're coming back here to the same zone. I wonder, had we hit our profit objective? Yes, we did. So you see our first micro-macro cross actually did work out. It did hit its profit target. Let's see if we can't get a macro pullback out of this bad boy. Gold price is falling. Crude oil price is holding more or less steady. And the Falcon still trying to give me that buy signal. Hmm. Tough little range. Don't have a 4-arrow consolidation yet, but that's what I'm looking at here for the Hawk. We're starting to get a warning dot here on the Falcon. You can see we're getting conflicting signals. So we're working on a possible green bar sell there on the Eagle, or we were working on a green bar sell on the Eagle. All right, there's going to be our signal. It's going to produce right here at the high. Can I cover it? No, for crying out loud. Okay, I'm just going to pop in an order there before it runs too far. What did I want? Oh, yes, I'll probably go with the ATR to start. Maybe dial it back a little bit. Sure, that'll work. So we'll get a stop and play. I could see the market getting up here to, well, the median line, of course, 43.85. That's our first target. The opening gap around 43.90, but I could see it getting here to 43.97. That does not seem unreasonable. course, I ended up buying in at the top of the hour, which sometimes is a little problematic, as that seems to define the end of the opening range. That first half hour of trading sometimes can be quite influential. We produced a similar signal here on the Raptor as we did on the Falcon. And what you could do is you could even just take the signal above the high. I know it's a little bit late. Oh, I suppose you could even enter this signal on the hash mark still. Get a little bit of a late entry. But as I said, we're drifting a little bit here, so I'm trying not to get too carried away one way or the other. Okay, now we also have our trend change signal here on the Eagle. So things starting to look a little bit more bullish. If we can ride out this first little swing here on our Falcon trade. How are we doing? I can actually pull my risk a little deeper. There we go. Just to try to ride out any attempts at a move lower. That will give me a little bit more staying power. Okay, now we're into a macro pullback. Look at this. We're producing a green bar sell, or the beginning of a green bar sell here on the Eagle. Macro pullback signal here in the Hawk. Again, I'm just going to throw a onesie on this for now. I'm not happy when a market is drifting the way this one is. So I don't want to get too committed risk-wise. I could, conversely, I could dial down my risk amount to 1% instead of my 2%. Even risking 2%, pardon me, risking 2% of my capital is not irresponsible. All right, let's see if we get any follow through on this. And once again, I'm going to try to run this out. I know I should just be taking the profit when I have it. Very often, I'm better off taking my profit. Just scalping in and out. I would have had a winning trade here. We'll see how this one develops. So we've got the macro pullback. Let's see if, this sort of resembles a little bit of a trend line here. We'll see if we get any sort of breakout off of this. If I can get a couple of bars here in my favor, I can also start to get a little bit more aggressive with my stops. And if we get near the high, that would definitely be a good place to get the trade to a break-even type situation. Come on. Well, anything resembling market momentum has pretty much evaporated. Yeah, like Tony says, pesky sellers. It's nobody's committed. There we go. They're trying. All right, so we're getting close enough here that I'm going to start getting a little bit more aggressive with my stops. Oops, come on now. And, oh, we're still against the ATR. I'm going to flip here to maybe a parabolic type strategy. And hopefully we're not going to see another swing here. And, oh, spoke too soon. Oh, dear. Hold your stops, man. Come on, you buyers. You sons of buyers, get in there. Nope. You're going to give me a little bit of a love tap here in a second. Let's see what's going on with the Geiger counter. They're trying. They're trying to chew through some of those orders. Not very successful, though. Not yet, anyway. Might get a late filter entry here on the Falcon. Almost forgot about our Falcon trade, so we got the market floundering here a little bit, drifting a little sideways. Our trend line still yellow or green. This is a very tough range. So I'm going to roll my stop in below the low. If it fails at the low here, it's probably going to continue lower. So that's why I brought my stop in. I might as well take my medicine early. You can see here now on the Hawk, we also got tagged, but that's okay. We minimized our risk. That's part of the game. We might not be right all the time, but the least we can do is, not lose big. We're just drifting a little bit here. I was expecting this, but really not until later this morning. Normally, we see the market a little bit more committed, at least for a very short term. All right, well, we still got the sideways drift going on here, so not much fun at the moment. Okay, here comes the Raptor. I will try this trade. Again, we're just looking for some momentum. Currently, the bias is slightly bullish. You see, we broke this resistance area back here. I'm still looking for that second move higher. So that's why I keep buying into this market. It's not that I'm a stubborn bull, although my wife has mentioned things to that effect before. Maybe not quite that politely, but we're still on the lookout for the second move higher. Oh, I don't want my stop way down there. All right. Okay, so I've got my stops enabled. I'm going to place it below the hard edge here in case we get into the sideways drift, which it appears as though we still are. Good morning, Jim. Wow, Jim giving us some advanced decline numbers here this morning. Very bearish on the surface, 550 on the buy, 2200 on the sell. But don't forget we had that really big opening gap. Okay, come on, get up there. So just looking for the buyers or the sellers to commit here. Obviously, I've committed here to the buy side, so I'd like to see the bulls follow through. And if we can take out this high, this 43.85 area, 84.50, 85, that should be enough to spark a little buying rally. All right, here they go. Producing another warning dot here on the Raptor. We should get a comparable signal here on the Falcon. Darn it, maybe I was too quick with that stop after all. Getting a trend change signal now here on the Eagle. So if you're following the Eagle, you've got, oh, that's out of reach. Let's try that again. Maybe down there. This might be well, it's more or less the same neighborhood as we're looking with the other one. We're looking around 43.92, 93. I may have to adjust that profit objective if in fact this trade does engage. So here is what I would consider a significant swing point, this one right here. So we've got a couple things going in our favor here. We've retested the lows, right? We've retested the lows. The lows seem to be holding. We've breached a swing point. So it does look as though the buyers are in control. When we breach a significant swing point, we anticipate two moves in the direction of the breakout. Plus, we had a little itty-bitty retest here. So what I'm looking for now is this second move higher. And in fact, what I think I'll do is I'm going to bring my profit target down here to the whole 43.93 area. And I'll take my break even if we see 43.90. Okay, so there's my logic behind the trade. That's my reasoning. And we'll see what the market has to say about it. So far, they're giving me the stink eye. Okay, they're, well, still in this whole sideways drift. Not really much to comment on. We're just waiting out our trades, really. Well, the buyers and the sellers holding their own, getting a red bar buy signal here if you were really desperate to try to get in on this trade, but I'm already leveraged enough. I will point it out. Well, shoot, what the heck? We're in a trading room. Why not? So we're getting the warning dots. I can tell from my handy dandy logic counter if the market finishes here on the high, I should produce my buy signal. You can see my profit objective is here at the highs. Oh, sorry, that's not a red bar buy, Eric. Those are sell dots. Sorry. Been looking at the charts too long. Everything's starting to fade. It's starting to look the same. Yeah, the advanced decline still kind of holding steady. Jim says the bank index, the transports, and the Russell all look like they're firming up. Crude oil is looking like it's trying to inch higher, but it's more or less a carbon copy of what we're seeing here. Jim says the advanced decline getting a little bit stronger. 650 on the buy, 2120 on the sell. So really, there's not much we can do but wait this out. Oh, Jim says the YM's got a huge cloud, a huge, well, let's see, would that be overbought or oversold? I'm assuming overbought. He says on his 15-minute chart, it's 94 ticks. Oops, sorry, these are the bonds. Let's get that YM up here. Well, on the 15-minute chart, maybe, Jim, but certainly not on the mean Renko. It's still pretty tight. Yeah, we just got a lot of sideways action going on here. I'm afraid that we may just be looking at a sideways range today. There were a couple little moves higher, but for the most part, we've just got a sideways drift. No. All right, so the bottom end of this trading range failed. Now they're going to try to recover the downtrend. Oh, we did get a little trend change signal here on the Falcon. I missed that one. So we're holding on to our Eagle trade, but just barely. I anticipate the market still to move kind of sideways. We're just kind of toughing it out here for a little bit. We may, you know what, we may end up closing up the room a little earlier than usual, as there does not seem to be very much going on here at the moment. All right, here they come with another hard edge bounce off the Eagle. If we start to make a little bit of progress on this trade, I would start to roll my stops up somewhat. I still think 43.93, 92, 93 is a feasible target for us today. I'm still bullish. Oh, there we go. We're getting a little momentum. We'll ride this trade out, and then I think we'll call it a day. Well, no, they're still pretty dead. All the market activity is dried up, which, is to be anticipated. It is going into a holiday weekend. Traders aren't going to get overly leveraged on a day like today. And I think that's probably a good time to just button up the session. We'll call it an early weekend ourselves. Like I said, I'm still more bullish than I am bearish. If you're thinking you're going to hang out and try to take a few dollars out of the market, I should have been scalping more today. I should have scalped out on target. We had a few promising scalp trades. Most of them ended up getting stopped at break even. But it is a difficult day, and you know what? There's going to be days like this, so you may as well go do something else. All right, you guys, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch up with you on Monday. Bye for now.